Today, I'll be explaining what happened in Genesis chapter 50. This chapter focuses on grief, forgiveness, and God's faithful providence, and it plays an important role in the message of Genesis. It brings the story of the patriarchs to a tender and hope-filled conclusion. At this point in the story, we are following Joseph, now the powerful viceroy of Egypt, and a son who has just lost his father, Jacob. Jacob, also called Israel, has died, and his final wishes guide what happens in this chapter. Alongside Joseph are his brothers, the very men who once betrayed him, now living under his protection in Egypt. These characters are important because their choices and attitudes move the chapter from sorrow to reconciliation and trust. Jacob's request to be buried in Canaan anchors the family to God's promises beyond the comforts of Egypt. It is a crossroads moment for a family, and the final chapter of a generation. The chapter begins with raw grief. Joseph falls upon his father's face and weeps over him, then kisses him. This is not ceremonial sorrow. It is the honest mourning of a devoted son. The Egyptians join the lament, honoring Jacob's life and Joseph's household. A prolonged mourning underscores the weight of this loss and the void he leaves behind. To honor Jacob's oath, Joseph petitions Pharaoh to bury his father in Canaan.
Go and bury your father as you swore.
A grand procession departs. Joseph, his brothers, Egyptian officials, elders, chariots, and horsemen, a royal honor for a shepherd. The journey foreshadows the Exodus, a temporary return to the Promised Land. At the threshing floor of Atad, they lament for 7 days. Even the Canaanites take note. They reach the cave of Machpelah, the burial place Abraham purchased. Here lie Sarah and Abraham, Isaac and Rebekah, laying Jacob to rest roots the family in God's promise. The burial fulfills a son's oath and is a multi-generational act of faith. With the burial complete, the company returns, and the atmosphere shifts. Without their father, old fears resurface.
What if Joseph holds a grudge and pays us back for all the wrong?
They send a message claiming Jacob commanded them to seek forgiveness. They prostrate themselves, offering to be his slaves. It echoes Joseph's dreams, the sheaves and the stars bowing. The text says simply, Joseph wept when they spoke to him. He weeps not in anger, but because they still do not grasp his heart.
Do not be afraid. Am I in the place of God? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives.
This chapter teaches us several important messages. First, grief is right and necessary. Joseph's tears show that faith does not erase sorrow, it gives it context. Second, forgiveness acknowledges pain but chooses mercy over revenge. Third, God's providence weaves even human wrongs into a larger good. Through Joseph, God preserved many lives, including his own family. Above all, God is sovereign and near, powerful to redeem what others meant for harm. This invites us to trust God's character, even when outcomes are uncertain. In summary, Genesis chapter 50 shows us grief honored, forgiveness extended, and God's good purposes at work. It reminds us that God is faithful across generations and invites us to trust him as the story unfolds. May we see his hand in our pain and walk forward in hope. If this explanation helped, please like the video, share it with someone who might be encouraged, and leave a comment with your reflections. And if you'd like to keep walking through the Bible together, subscribe for more chapter-by-chapter explanations. Thank you for watching.